July 18, 2025, Southport, North Carolina. The air was thick with the scent of Sultan fireworks as the small coastal town celebrated the annual Independence Day parade. Laughter echoed through the boardwalk. Neon lights danced on the waves. But for 5 friends, the night would end in silence, buried under the weight of a terrible secret. Danica, Ava, Milo, Teddy, and Stevie, tight-knit, vibrant, full of plans and youth, were driving back from Reaper's Curve after a night of reckless joy. The road twisted like a serpent near the cliffs. Fireworks flashed. A shadow darted across their path. Slam! The car jerked. The world froze. A body lay in the road. Panic struck like lightning. They stepped out to a nightmare. A man, lifeless, his face obscured, his chest barely rising. Drunk, shaken, and terrified of ruining their futures, they argued. Ava wanted to call the cops. Danica begged for silence. Stevie, pale as death, stared at the blood on his hands. Then Milo said the words that sealed their fate. No one will ever know. We bury this tonight. So they dragged the body to the sea's edge. They made a pact, a secret between them. It never happened. No one speaks. Not ever. A year passed. The scars beneath their smiles deepened. Then came the notes, crude, chilling, hand-scrawled. I know what you did last summer. Each of them received one. Tucked into lockers. Slid under doors. Written on fogged mirrors. Stevie found one etched into his windshield. Milo's dog was found dead on his porch. Tension fractured their group. Suspicion grew like mold. Danica accused Ava. Teddy vanished from social media. They were all spiraling. Then came the unlikeliest of guides. Julie James, survivor of the 1997 Southport killings, returned older, haunted, watching from the shadows. With her came Ray Bronson, once broken, now back. They'd been through this before, and they knew how it ended. Secrets don't rot, Julie told them. They fester. The local police, skeptical and underfunded, chalked it all up to pranks. But behind closed doors, they saw the signs. Photos, old blood reports, shaky alibis. No one could be trusted. And then the killings began. First was Teddy, found at the docks, hooked through the chest, eyes wide in horror. Then Milo, slashed in his bathtub. The mirror above read, "Still think it's over?" The rest ran. Danica to her grandmother's. Ava to a rented safe house. Stevie, he stayed. And that's when the truth began to unravel. Footage leaked.
It's personal to them.
Surveillance from a week prior. A figure in a fisherman's coat. Not just stalking, but watching Stevie. Then came the reveal. Stevie had become the fisherman. Twisted by guilt, by fear, by what he'd buried, not just the body, but his own identity. He wore the coat. He picked up the hook. He was trying to control the chaos by becoming the monster. But it wasn't just him. Another mask fell. Ray Bronson, who everyone thought had returned to help, was also hunting. A man driven by a different pain. Years of bottled rage at how no one ever listened. That the new generation was repeating their sins. He wasn't helping them survive. He was making sure they didn't. Julie found herself caught between both ghosts, one from her past, the other born from it. Danica confronted Stevie in the warehouse where they once made their pact. He cried. He screamed. He blamed her, all of them, for breaking the deal. Ava arrived mid-confrontation, and a fight broke out. Hooks, fire, blood. Stevie was killed by Ava. Ray, watching from the shadows, said one word, cowards. Then he vanished. The media spun it. A tragic spree by a traumatized boy. But Julie knew better. Ray was still out there, and he wasn't done. The past hadn't just returned. It had evolved. And what they uncovered next would change everything.
You can't run.
Subscribe for the full breakdown of the final confrontation, Ray's true motives, and the shocking ending that left even the original survivors speechless. When the hunters become haunted, who do you trust? 1 week later, the town had quieted. Or at least, it pretended to. With Stevie dead and the official report labeling him the copycat killer, Southport returned to its daily routine. Kids on the beach, tourists with cameras, and lanterns floating peacefully over water. But for Ava and Danica, the silence screamed. They knew it wasn't over. Ray Bronson was still out there. And he wasn't just watching, he was planning.
It's personal to them.
Inside the walls of a dusty motel room, Julie James flipped through a weathered leather journal. Ray's journal. She had found it hidden in his rental car, beneath the seat, wrapped in cloth, sealed with a single phrase burned into the cover. The guilt is generational. Every page was a confession, not just Ray's pain from 1997, but his plan, his obsession, with cleansing the town of those who treat death like an inconvenience. Ray believed that the new group, Danica, Ava, Stevie, deserved judgment, and he wasn't finished. The final entry read, "One more, the one who watched and said nothing." Ava couldn't sleep, not since Stevie's death, not since she saw the look in Danica's eyes, the look of someone hiding something worse than fear. She confronted her. "What did you do?" Danica cracked. She confessed everything. That night, a year ago, the man they hid hadn't died on the road. He woke up when they tried to dump him. He begged for help, and it was Danica who silenced him. A rock, one blow. The others didn't see. She never told them. She was the real killer. Ava staggered back in horror. She wanted to run, but Danica grabbed her. "You think we're better than Ray? We're not. We're the monsters." Julie knew where Ray would go. The one place he'd always return to, Widow's Wharf, the same dock where the first fisherman had fallen into the sea in 97. Danica followed her there, uninvited. She wanted to confess. Or maybe, she wanted to end it all. Ray was waiting, older, broken, but deadly as ever. He wasn't surprised to see Danica. "You're why this town keeps bleeding," he told her. "Because no one pays for what they do." Danica stepped forward. "Then do it. End it." Julie raised her gun. "Ray, don't become what you hate." But he already had. What followed was a brutal final confrontation. Danica lunged. Ray swung the hook. Julie fired once into the air. It gave Ava enough time to arrive with police sirens blaring behind her. Ray turned to flee, but not before Danica tackled him over the dock's edge. They both plunged into the water below. Only one body surfaced. Danica's. Ava moved away from Southport. Julie stayed. The town doesn't speak of the murders anymore. They don't speak of Ray or Danica or Stevie. But every year on July 4th, someone leaves a single hook tied in red ribbon on the boardwalk railing. No note, no prints, just the silent reminder. "I still know what you did." Secrets buried by the sea always come back to shore. The past doesn't drown. It waits. Subscribe for more horror breakdowns and real story origins behind iconic slasher films. Which movie should we uncover next? Comment below. Free Move Recaps, FMR, where stories don't end, they echo.